Hello everyone, this is Just a Dad. So what is the best robot vacuum cleaner under $300? This is a super hard category to figure out. Now, I'm going to explain my reasonings. I'll get right to the point is the Dreamy D20, which was last year's 2025 pick of the year, is still one of my favorites, but the brand new Dreamy D20 Air, I'll explain. It's got a lot more suction power, but it's got some things that kind of lead it towards maybe a smaller home. That's why the D20 is still my favorite. Now, under $300, these all come with mops. I do not consider any of these mopping robots. Maybe the Q10 because it can do a pretty good job of mopping, but you're going to be taking care of the mop pad. They just drag the mop pad on the floor. So while they come with mops, and you'll see they have water tanks, I do not consider any of these robot vacuum cleaners to be mopping robots. You do have to jump in price up just a little bit above $300 in order to get a mopping robot. Now, with that being said, I've got some that are kind of for small apartments or bigger homes, but the easiest place to find these robots is my website, justadadapproved.com. It's a brand new website. I've got a category specifically for this, under $300, vacuum only. I also have a quiz. So if you are unsure of your house, your home size, if you have pets, whatever the price range you're at, check out my website. Up at the top, there's a take the quiz. It's about 4 or 5 questions. You answer them. They're very simple. Do you have pets? Do you have 1 or 2 bedrooms? And then it's going to lead you to my top recommendations. That's at justadadapproved.com. I've purchased over 200 robot vacuum cleaners with my own money. That way I can give you my honest opinion. This is home of the honest review, but I do use links. So if you purchase a product from this video description or on my website, I am an Amazon affiliate. If you click on those links, the product's not going to cost you anymore, but I do earn a small commission from the sale. Now, I have scorecards on all these robot vacuum cleaners. And as we get down in this lower price range, the scorecards, while they're important, there's just not a lot you can grade these robots on. The scorecard was really meant for above $400 when you start mopping. When these robots start taking care of your house, the entire house, that's where the scorecard really comes into play. Pretty much, it's going to come down to a couple things with these. A, does it have pretty good suction power? And B, how easy is it to use? Now, I did include a Shark here. I've got 2 Roborocks. I've got 2 Dreamies, and I've even got an Ecovacs. There's also a Yeti C12, which is exactly the same as the Ecovacs right here. I've got a review on my website. So let me start off by saying the Ecovacs is the only bagless that I recommend. Same with the Yeti. These all have bags. Now, I know that is an expense you incur every couple months. Thankfully, prices are coming down on the bags, and there are some third parties we can buy, but I do get it when you want a bagless. Unfortunately, there's just not a lot of robots that are bagless. So again, this video is mainly for a robot that you want to vacuum only. That's the price point under $300 that you're going to get. At the end of this video, I'm going to show you a couple robots that if you're on an extremely tight budget and you do want them to mop and vacuum your home, there are 2 picks that I've got for you, but vacuum only. Now, for a bigger home, I'm going to select the D20. Comes in 2 models. There's a Pro and a Pro Plus. The Pro Plus has a side brush that extends. These are great for pets. The D20 Air just came out, and they've done something. They've increased suction power, 20,000 pascals of suction. This actually does matter. In my testing and at home testing, you're going to see that increased suction power does actually get our homes a lot cleaner. So again, the Dreamy D20 Air Plus. Now what you're seeing here, these are all auto empty dustbins. This is the price point I love. You can get a Q7 M5 or a Q10, and there's like a Dreamy D9 without an auto empty base. I consider that to be, that gets you down to around 150, 200 bucks, and then you're going to be emptying the dustbin yourself, which is kind of dusty. So This is the best price point that I think jumping in. If it's your first time robot vacuum cleaner, you're gonna love the auto empty feature of a robot. Now there's one thing in common with all the robots that I recommend. They have LiDAR navigation. When you're under this $300 price point range, they need to have LiDAR navigation. That's gonna do two things. That's gonna map your home extremely well and make it easy for you to use. And then the second thing, they have to have a good app. What I've run into in the past when I buy these off brands, the apps are not smooth and easy to use. There's a hassle factor with that. And then parts become a problem. With the Roborock, Dreamy, Mova, Ecovacs, Yeti, even Shark, this is kind of a proven ecosystem or manufacturing process that we're gonna be okay with. Now there's only one of these that I recommend if you have pets. That's the Dreamy D20 Pro or Pro Plus. The D20 Air does okay if you have pets, but it's not the one I recommend. That's because this has the dual split brush roller, and they float on the end. So the long hairs are not gonna wrap around this brush roller, and they're gonna be directed to the end where they get sucked up into the dustbin. These all have single brush rollers, which again, for this price, I'm actually pretty shocked. For under $300, we get that type of a brush roller on the D20. That's advanced technology that we only see on some really expensive robots. But with all of these, you're gonna get a standard brush roller. They're gonna put some sort of comb in there, which does an okay job, but you're gonna get hair wrap. And in fact, even on this one right here, my #1 pick, I've got some hair wrap on it. Typically, they do make these so the hair wrap is easy to get off, but it's right here on the end. So keep that in mind. When you're getting under this $300 price point range, there's not a lot of them. In fact, there's only one that's really dealing with long hair. That's pretty much an advanced feature that you only find on the more expensive robots. Now we talked about mop pads. These just snap on. So what I say is take them off, put them off to the side, and don't use them. They have onboard water tanks. Don't fill them up with water. And the Q10 would actually be a pretty good robot for this, but unfortunately, you can take its mop pad off, but then you're left with some Velcro and some features here that actually get caught in the carpet and stuff. So you do have to use this robot with the mop pad on all the time. Now, it does lift it up, not very high, so it does kind of drag it on the carpet. It does have a carpet sensor, so it's not gonna get it wet. It's just not a robot I recommend a whole lot, the Q10. And that's gonna go along with the Q7. In my testing, the Q7 actually struggled pretty good. It's probably my #5 pick. The price point on this one typically tends to be the lowest. It's the smallest robot. It's got 10,000 pascals of suction, hardly any obstacle avoidance. It did kind of struggle in a bigger home, so this is really meant for a smaller home or smaller apartment. Same with the D20 Air. Smaller house. If I got any bigger house, I'm gonna get the D20. It's got a bigger dust bag. It's got a bigger dustbin. A lot of these have smaller dustbins. That's gonna be super important on how long it can vacuum. So the D20 has the largest dustbin of all these robots that we see here. So you can just see why under this $300 price point range, I kind of keep coming back to the D20 Plus and Plus Pro. The Air really caught my eye because they increased suction power so much. And so I really fell in love with it because it actually vacuums it actually vacuums a little bit better than the D20. This is their newer model. Okay, so let's talk about my #1 pick for Bagless. That's going to be the Ecovacs N20E Plus. They have an older one that's N20. They just released this one. I wish the suction power was a little bit more. It's 10,000 pascals of suction. Single brush roller. It's kind of the bigger of all of them. The base station's kind of bigger, and the robot itself is the loudest of all of them. And with that being said, all of these, you typically, when they're on carpet, you have to run them at their highest suction power. And that's why I noticed the Ecovacs, when I'm running it on its highest suction power, it is the loudest of all of them, which in my opinion, they're making robot vacuum cleaners now that are not loud. So while that is a good robot, I do recommend some others. Now, this category is heavily marketed and influenced by Shark. And this was a great robot. When I say this, they have just rebranded this Matrix, I have this robot here. They are making this in about 30 different flavors. It's the exact same robot. So 2 years ago, this was a beast. This was an amazing robot. Wow. Game changer. It actually had one of the first ones with LiDAR navigation. It always made it back to my home. It mapped my house really well. Unfortunately, under this $300 price range, Shark has not innovated at all. They're releasing some high dollar ones, $500,000-$600,000 robots, and they're not that good actually. There's much better robots for that price point because they're not innovating that part of the robot and the app. Early on, I talked about the application that you use to interface with these robots. That's the only way you interface with them. You have to have Wi-Fi and you have to have a phone or a tablet to tell it what to do and to map your home. And the Shark is the oldest of all of these. It's the hardest to use of all of these. It has the least features of all of these. And it's got a mechanical noise, which is just part of how Shark developed their robots. When this is on carpet, their brush roller, it makes a mechanical noise, which I've had so many people ask me, is it supposed to make that noise? Yeah, unfortunately it is. Most of these just sound like a vacuum, like a lot of airflow. This one actually has a little mechanical noise. But what I don't necessarily like is how they rebrand this robot here. I can go on and on and on about it. It's just at so many different places, and they call it a matrix. They call it a two-in-one. They call it all these different things. They never tell us suction power. Again, this was a great robot. It just has not been innovated at all. Thankfully, the price is coming down. This one is one of the cheapest ones. Now, if you buy this robot, you're not going to have that bad of an experience. You're going to be a little frustrated with it once in a while. It's going to be a little noisy. You can have a better experience than with the Shark robot. What I love about Roborock, Dreaming, Mova, Ecovacs even, these companies are innovating, trying new things to get us better robots to clean our house. Unfortunately, with the Shark, they just haven't done that. This is old technology, old robot that they're continuously selling. All different kinds of brands. It's just the model numbers drove me crazy. I told you at the end I would show you two possibilities. When the Dreamy L10S, there's several different models, but this is the original L10S. When it's on sale for $299 sometimes, which I've seen quite a few times, this is the only robot under $300 that I would recommend that vacuums and mops, because it has a base station that washes the mop pads. It's got an onboard water tank. You just simply fill the water tank up, empty the dirty water tank. But this is an older robot, has lower suction, but it's got a great app. And this is the one my mother-in-law has, and she's had it for over 2 years. She maintains it. There are better robots out there than this, but this is kind of an old, tried and true that I'm glad to see the price came way down. If you can spend a little bit more, sometimes between $300 and $400, the Mova P10 Pro falls. Wow. This is an amazing robot. Now, it's not the best one. That's the Mova V50. We got the Roborock Sarls. Those things cost $500-$600. But again, this is price. I'm all about price. And when you can spend, let's say this is $350. Does this thing clean $50 more than the Dream L10S? It absolutely does. It's got a side brush that extends, a mop pad that extends. We can install a tri-cut brush for long hair, so we got long hair management. It's got really good obstacle avoidance. So if you can spend, I get it though. If it has to be absolutely under $300, and some of those robots are under $250, the best place to check the price is my website, justadadapproved.com. It's going to have that list. But if you can look at more my budget robots under $500, sometimes the Mova P10 Pro is on sale. So this is this was my 2025 overall pick of the year. I tell people, if you're new to robot vacuum cleaners and you're wanting a robot that vacuums and mops, this is the price point to jump into. This is the robot to jump into, the Mova P10 Pro. It's just going to do a good job for you. I don't know how else to say that. So again, check out the website, justadadapproved.com. Look for more super videos coming. I do appreciate everybody's support. Again, if you could, please like, subscribe, and thanks for watching. The best place to find all my robot vacuum cleaner reviews is my website, justadadapproved.com. Here you can see Dad's top picks. I've got best overall robot vacuum cleaners. I've got best under $1,000, best under $500, and the biggest part of this website is the robot reviews. I'm eventually going to have over 200 robots in here. Right now there's 74. You can sort these by mop pads and different things, but you can read the full review, and it takes you can see the score, the bottom line, who's this for, the YouTube videos that are associated with it, the ad versus reality, how did it do? But here's the most important one, the 3-month real world test score. That's the score that you'll see throughout my website, wherever that robot shows up. Then I've got a cost to own, and then I've got my robot specs. These are the specifications that I consider are important for robot vacuum cleaners. I developed this all on my own. And then who's it for? Skip it. There's always a link. If you purchase it using one of these links, it'll take you right to Amazon. The product's not going to cost you anymore, but I do earn a small commission from the sale. And then I've got kind of a written review on it. Thanks everybody for watching. If you found this video helpful, hit the like and subscribe button. Also check out where you can find all my approved products on my website, justadadapproved.com. You'll see a little link to it here at the end of the video. If you click on that, that's going to take you right to my website.